Josh, you grew up in Penrith in Australia. What are your earliest memories of football over there?
Yeah, look, Penrith, I just remember playing, following my brother's footsteps really. He played football for St Mary's in the green and white jersey stripes, and yeah, that's probably the earliest memories, just going down there, following him and just training with his team really.
And a former youth coach of yours, Ben Kahn, has spoken about seeing your love and passion for football at a really young age. How big of a part of your childhood was football back then?
Yeah, it was massive. I think at an early age it was everything I wanted to be and do, and Ben Kahn especially was a massive part of that. Outside my family, he was probably the first person to ever truly believe in me, and he gave me a platform to do well. And he's a big part of my football career and who I am now.
At age 14, you had trials in Europe in both Spain and England. You did fracture your hip whilst you were in England, and then that led to the discovery of a tumour in your right hip. Did you see that as a setback at the time, and how was it kind of overcoming that?
Yeah, definitely a setback. I think as a kid you just want to play, and I thought, oh, here's my big break, maybe getting a chance in England and Spain. And yeah, just to a few unfortunate incidents, fractured my hip and had a tumour. And I think I was on crutches for about 6 to 8 months or something like that. So as a kid, it's pretty big, but yeah, it happens to everyone, I guess. Everyone's got their own sort of problems they've got to get through. And yeah, if I look back at it now, it was sort of gave me a bit more desire and passion to kick on. Yeah,
and 2018 saw you make your debut for the Central Coast Mariners in the FFA Cup against Adelaide. What are your memories from that night?
Not a very good night. I remember debut didn't do too well. Team lost as well, and yeah, I think if you look overall, I was happy to make my debut, but yeah, I didn't play well that night.
And at the time, you were still working in Woolworths. How much of a change was it, kind of leaving that and transitioning into full-time football?
Yeah, for a fair part of my start anyway, I was working a part-time job and then training with the first team, and it's sort of, you can't really give that up until you got something cemented. And fortunately, yeah, I was able to slowly transition, and the club were really good about it. And yeah, Woolworths were very good about it too. They were very aware of my situation and sort of let me work when I could. And yeah, it was very nice. Yeah,
and the same season as you made your debut, there was a fairly iconic photo of you alongside Usain Bolt both coming on. How was it playing football with the fastest man in history?
Yeah, it was different. There was a lot more media attention than we usually get, but just like I think every guy says, they're good people when it comes to it, and like they're just like us. And yeah, it was a cool experience, an experience not many people will ever get to experience, and yeah, very thankful.
Yeah. And in 2019, you signed your first professional contract with the club. How proud a moment was that for you and your family?
Yeah, it was. It was a very proud moment. I remember I debuted in the actual league the night before, the day before or something. And then the coach called me up to offer me my first professional contract. I remember the first thing I did was join call with mum and dad to tell them at the same time. And yeah, I think a lot of footballers, when you get that type of achievement, it's not just your achievement, it's the people that have sacrificed and put a lot of effort in for it. And yeah, they were just as happy as I was.
Yeah. And June 2022, you did sign a new contract. That season you went on to win the A-League Championship, and you also won the Mariners Medal for Player of the Year. What are your favourite memories from that season?
Yeah, I remember we weren't doing too well during a period, and then we just kicked on, and we were heading into we have final series over there, doing really well. And yeah, I think you just don't really, when you're doing so well, you don't really think about winning. You just do it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just remember having a lot of fun winning, and then being able to finish it off with the title was brilliant.
And also in the summer 22, you were called up to the Australian under-23 squads. How big of an honour was that for you?
It was a very honour. I never, until that moment, got called up into any Australia type of program, and I was one of the eldest there, and sadly it didn't quite go as well as I'd like. I didn't get too many minutes or anything like that, but to be able to say you've done that and to get that accomplishment after such a good season, it was a nice feeling.
Yeah, and in December 2023, you made your 100th appearance for the club. When you made the decision to leave Woolworths to focus on the Mariners, did you ever envisage you would have that much impact on the club?
I guess you hope you do, but you never know with football, things change. But I remember leaving Woolworths, sort of saying, "Oh, hopefully, I'm not coming back here soon." So yeah, fortunately, it worked out that well, and yeah, to do it for Mariners is quite a privilege.
Yeah. And the 23-24 season was also a very successful one for you, both personally and as a team. How good was it being part of that side that won the Championship, Premiership and AFC Cup that season?
Yeah, we did something in Australia that no other club's done, and yeah, it was great to be a part of that, and it was even better to do it with some really close friends that I have in the club and in the team. And yeah, I think when you probably look back on your career at the end, that's probably a special moment you see, and yeah, sort of the ones you show your grandchildren and your children about.
And that season you also won the Johnny Warren medal for the best player in the A-League. That must have been a moment that made you think all the hard work had paid off.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, you play football just for the fun and enjoyment, and you don't really think about the individual accolades. But when you do get them, it is quite nice. And to receive the Johnny Warren is the top you can get in Australia. So that was very, very honoured moment.
2024 also saw you called up to the Australian full national team for the first time. How have you found your experience with the Socceroos so far, and how does that rank in terms of your career achievements?
Yeah, it's something I remember in the under 23s camp. I told the coaching staff that my ambition was to play for the Socceroos, and I know I can do it. And one hinted at that not everyone gets to play for the Socceroos, and then I was able to achieve that. So to be able to accomplish something that even when I was doing so well, there were still doubters, and something I've dreamed about for a long time. Yeah, it was quite nice. And my family were just as proud, and they made sure they come for my debut. So yeah, it was great to do it in Australia also.
And moving on to the summer of 2024, you took the decision to move on from the Mariners. How tough a decision was that for you?
Yeah, it was sad, especially the last 2 years we had was so successful, I guess, and enjoying my time so much. But Mariners in Australia is a club that helps their players have ambition, and I was always someone that wanted to strive to be as best as I could and do as well as I can. And yeah, unfortunately, you can't really do that in Australia. It's limiting, and Europe is where sort of the rest of the world is for football. So I wanted to come over here and challenge myself.
Yeah, and you did then sign a 3-year deal with Ross County. How did that move come about, and was it a difficult decision to move across the globe to take the next step in your career?
It wasn't too difficult to move across the globe, but it was difficult just working out what would be the best move. And when I was weighing up my options in the summer, this just looked like, when you look on the resume, it's the best next step. It looks good on the resume, and even though there's a lot of doubters in the physical league, this was a way to prove them wrong, even in Europe, that I'd done so in Australia.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, obviously there is always going to be people that have doubts about your size, especially coming into a league as physical as the Scottish Premiership. How big a motivating factor was that for you to come here and prove people wrong?
Yeah, exactly right. That was probably the main factors, the physicality and doing well in duels and running about and doing all right here would show that not many other leagues would be able to physically not match. So yeah, that was a major part of it, and hopefully I'm doing that.
Yeah, and there's been a number of players that have come from the A-League across to Scotland. How big a part in your decision did they play? Did you speak to any of them before making the move?
Yeah. Actually, the first time I spoke to Ross County, Harry Suter mentioned it to me that he played there, and I was in Australia camps at Jackson Irvine, talked about it, and yeah, there's a fair few Australian footballers that have been in the Scottish League, but also Ross County, so they all spoke highly of the club, and told them that my ambitions was to do as well as I can, and they said, yeah, it'd be a great platform.
Yeah, and you netted your first goal for the club in our game against Motherwell in November. How proud a moment was that for you? Yeah,
I was pretty proud. I was hoping to sort of score a few goals and to be able to do it against Motherwell, and probably a time where I think we went 2-0 up in probably very winter-like conditions, which I'm not used to, but yeah, it was a great feeling, and to be able to help the team, and thankfully we got the 3 points that night. It was brilliant.
And as you said there, the conditions we had over the winter, I think we've had our wettest game on record, windiest game on record, coldest game on record. How's a man from Australia cope with that?
Yeah, he's done all right, to be fair. I've sort of got used to it by now. I've been here for about 6 months or so, and I think the Celtic game where it's -9 and they're checking if the pitch is frozen isn't quite an Australia type thing, but yeah, it's a different experience, and yeah, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, and as you said, you've been here about 6 months now. We've seen on your social media you've been out about exploring the Highlands. How have you found the Highlands so far?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot actually. That's sort of when we get the downtime, I don't mind going the outdoors and having a look about, and I feel like especially in the Highlands there's quite beautiful places. It's just maybe the weather puts people off, I guess. But yeah, so my partner and I, we've gone to Isle of Skye and Fort Williams and a few other places, and yeah, we're really enjoying it. Yeah, really like it.
And what are your main goals for the rest of your time at Ross County? Obviously, you signed a 3-year deal with the club.
Just to do as well as I can and help the club do as well as we can. You know what I mean? We're doing pretty well at the moment, but we're just taking it game by game. And as long as I'm a part of that and helping as best as I can, that's all that matters.
Josh, thanks for your time.